What's up, guys? We are back for another Star Wars Black Series review, taking a look at the latest exclusive in the line, and that would of course be the new Target exclusive Luke Skywalker Death Star Escape version. So this is the figure with the new photo real tech for Luke, but it's also the one with the slick back hair as he just got out of the trash compactor. So this guy's kind of scene specific. This guy's also a bit of a mess to try to find right now too, but that's neither here nor there. So we've got him here in our standard Black Series package. You can see him there in the window. We've got our artwork down there on the bottom. He has no number because he's an exclusive, and then the back of the package has that same artwork as well as a bit of a write-up. So let's do it. Let's pull this guy out and take a look. And here he is out of the package, our Death Star Escape Luke Skywalker figure, which, I mean, let's face it, this guy is what, basically the exact same figure that some of us, well, a lot of us probably have had for years now, just with a new head on it. And I don't know, it's a pretty good head sculpt. I'm not sure that I really ever needed this, but I know there was a lot of folks that really wanted this particular Luke, so of course I couldn't pass it up. So let's get right into it, see what he does. I mean, it's a Stormtrooper body. I don't think anybody's really going to be surprised here. But let's run through articulation. So the head can go backwards, but it only goes so far because he's got that luxurious long head of hair. He can go down pretty far though, and then you rotate side to side. Arms go out. You have comlink launching action there. The arms go out. You've got to get that shoulder armor up over top though, so that can always be a bit of a pain. And then you can rotate. We've got a bicep swivel. We've got double jointed elbows. You have got hinge and rotation at the wrist. We've got a diaphragm twist, so back and forward and side to side. Legs go out, not too far because of that armor. Kick forward. You can rotate in that joint there as well a little bit. And then you've got back kick only slightly. There is a thigh cut up in there, but it only goes so far, again, because of the armor. You've got double jointed knees, and then you've got rocker, and you've got hinge down at the ankles. And this is the same kind of Stormtrooper body we've seen for a long time, so it does have those kind of weird detents in the ankles, so it can sometimes be a bit of a pain to get those flat-footed poses. Now, as far as the overall look and feel, I mean, it's a Stormtrooper, so yeah, it's a Stormtrooper. You know exactly what you're getting here. If you've done Black Series for any length of time, you know what you're getting into here. It's a standard Stormtrooper figure, as best I can tell. I don't notice anything really different, especially when comparing him to the original Stormtrooper Luke. So you've got all that same body armor. We do have slightly different joints here, though. These are white pegs versus black pegs on the other figure. But other than that, I mean, it's the same figure, but we've got the scuff marks and all of like the garbage and, you know, trash water that's all over him. The big draw here is, of course, the head sculpt, but the figure itself, I mean, it's a standard Stormtrooper, and then you do, as usual, have a helmet, which, I mean, I guess this could be considered an accessory. It just depends on how you want to use the figure. You know, I've always used my Stormtrooper Luke as another Stormtrooper, and this unfortunately has that same helmet. It does have the extra scuff and wear and tear on it, but I still think this is, you know, not the greatest Stormtrooper helmet. I wish they could have gone back and kind of resized and scaled it a little bit, because it always looked kind of wonky to me in some angles. He looks okay in some ways, but other ways not so much. The paint on him is really nice, though. This wears pretty well done, and then the actual Stormtrooper helmet paint itself looks just fine. I have no real issues. The actual paint on the figure, while relatively minimal, is very well applied. The wear and tear is okay. I mean, it's very scene specific, so I get it. It works just fine. And then taking the helmet on and off is actually a pretty easy process. It fits pretty well, and I don't really see the hair sticking out of the back either, which was a concern for me at first. And speaking of the head sculpt, here it is in all of its glory, I suppose. I think that it's a pretty good head. I'm having the same kind of situation that I had with Bespin Han when I first saw it, where I didn't really think it looked too much like Harrison Ford, and I think this looks sort of like Mark Hamill. I don't think it's nearly as bad as a lot of folks seem to be saying it is online, especially from certain angles. Like, I can really see that kind of looks like a young Mark Hamill there. And from the other side, it looks pretty good as well. He kind of has like a Ken doll look to me, though, when you look at him dead on. So, you know, your mileage may vary, of course. I do think that at some angles, he certainly looks better than others. Face print is well applied, though. I have no real issues to speak of, except for maybe that the upper lip is a little darker than I would kind of hoped, but the eyes are good. The eyebrows are good. And then, of course, you've got this hair sculpt on here, which has a lot of paint in it, a lot of wash. So it's got the grit and the grime and the nasty Dianoga water that's down in there, just to be a very scene-specific and very unique look. So again, this is a very point in time type of figure, and I think for the most part they nailed it. Like right there, this particular angle, you can't tell me that that doesn't look like a young Mark Hamill. Now, as far as accessories goes, he has a handful. It's basically what we got with the original Luke in Stormtrooper disguise. So you've got a comm link, and he can hold it in his left hand really well. And just like the other figure, he has a little spot on his belt here for it. If you're anything like me, this is something that will never stay on this figure. There's no way that I'm going to keep it on. I mean, when I was moving him around demoing articulation, that thing shot right off. So I'm surprised I didn't lose it then and there. So you've got the comm link, which is a pretty iconic accessory for this particular version of Luke. I'm just too scared about losing it because it is just so tiny. And then you've got a Stormtrooper rifle here. It has a little lick of silver paint, but that's about it. Same thing we've seen forever. And then we have got one of the new triangular foot holding base stand guys. So you've got one of those, you know, stick his foot in there and it'll do that sort of thing. I think it works well enough, and honestly, for a Stormtrooper figure, they have kind of those weird detents in the ankles, makes them kind of hard to balance sometimes. It's not too unwelcome here, I'll give you that, and it does work. You can get him into a nice running pose or something like that. I'm not sure I really needed it, but again, I kind of like having that kind of stuff, and I can certainly use it with other figures. And because, of course, we have to do it, here is a comparison between the original Stormtrooper Luke and our new Death Star Escape Luke. And you can see, I mean, they're basically the exact same figure, which is to be expected. They are the same character and same iteration of that character, but we've got different head sculpts, different paint deco, stuff like that. And, you know, this is one of those Luke heads that I thought wasn't too bad throughout the years. It's not the worst. It's not the best either by any means. But this thing definitely blows it out of the water. Whether you think this is a good Hamill likeness or not, the head sculpts are night and day different. I mean, I don't really think this looks too much like Mark Hamill either. But this one certainly does the job a lot better. And the paint deco, just the finish, everything about it is a cut above. It's a good example, again, of just what this technology can do when it's applied to a 6-inch scale figure. So overall, this is a pretty good figure. I don't really have any true gripes about it outside of the fact that I don't really think I ever needed it. I certainly never asked for this figure either, but it's a Stormtrooper, and at the very least, if you don't really want this particular Luke, it can be another way for you to get a OT Stormtrooper and throw him on your shelf, because he blends in pretty well with the other troops. Other than that, though, he definitely does make for a pretty good point-in-time, slicked-backed, wet Dianoga water hair Luke Skywalker. The likeness is pretty solid, paint deco on the face is nice, the hair is well done, the grime and grit and goop all over the armor looks pretty well, and of course you've got the new stand to contend with, and you get a comm link, so he's got a nice rounded out array of accessories. And come on, it's a Luke in Stormtrooper disguise. It's always going to sell. It's Luke Skywalker, it's a Stormtrooper. It's kind of the best of both worlds, and I think they've done a pretty good job here. So that's going to do it for this look at the Target exclusive Death Star Escape Luke. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time.